to the Whisk Mama Bear Podcast, Episode 11. I'm your host, Sarah Yacoub. Today's topic, the Fleecing of Wisconsin. Well, here we are. Tomorrow is December 1st, 2020, and our Republican-controlled legislature still refuses to get to work. It's been 7 months, and their taxpayer-paid vacation continues. How is it that they can get away with this? Hashtag identity politics. We are so heavily conditioned to seek accountability not as a function of wrongdoing, but as a function of party affiliation, social convenience. As a result, we have a whole lot of Republicans who have absolutely no interest in calling fouls on their team. So what exactly is going on? Let's break it down. Wisconsin is among the states in the nation in which taxpayers fund a full-time legislature. Our legislators get elected to do a full-time job. They get paid a taxpayer-paid salary to legislate full-time. Let's take a look at how our local legislators use their taxpayer time on taxpayer dime. State Assembly Representative Shannon Zimmerman, by his own sworn statements and tax and business filings, does not live in the district in which he votes or represents. He spent 2018 to current 2020 investing in Florida's economy to his own personal enrichment. Shannon takes his Wisconsin assets and dumps them into Florida to buy fancy beach homes that he then rents out through an LLC registered in Florida. Yes, Florida is a state that does not collect income tax. How much do you want to bet he calls the money spent on Florida beach homes a, quote, business expense to reduce his taxable income for his Wisconsin taxes? It's a question to which we, the taxpayers, deserve an answer. Why? Because it is we, the taxpayers, who pick up the slack in paying for things like roads, police, our schools. Does Shannon disclose his Florida business to Wisconsin taxpayers? No. Is he required to by law? By ethics? Yes. Legislators and candidates for office are required to file annual statements of economic interest. The SEI calls for disclosures of businesses, income, property, debts, and business relationships. It even spells out the meaning of omissions right near the place to sign that the form is true and complete. For those keeping track at home, he lies about where he lives, and he lies about his financial interests. Is he the only one who exploits taxpayer time on taxpayer dime? Of course not. What did State Senator-elect Rob Stafschel do with his taxpayer time on taxpayer dime? He started a garbage collection company. How long before Rob is leveraging his political relationships to secure government contracts, taxpayer funding for his garbage company? How does he defeat a bipartisan, dedicated public servant like our outgoing state senator Patty Shackner? Anti-labor groups like Americans for Prosperity literally spend millions to get their rubber stamp candidates like Rob and Shannon elected. Where did that money go? In this case, it went to lies. Lies about Rob being good and lies about Patty being bad. How many of us in northwestern Wisconsin fell for it? There's a reason there's so much pressure to not talk about politics. The second we actually start having these conversations, these dishonest, dirty tactics lose their effectiveness. The people buying our elections want us to shut up, not ask any questions, and have another drink. So, here are some questions we should be asking as taxpayers. Why are we good with paying legislators a full-time salary for less than part-time work? Why are we good with funding their 8+ month taxpayer-paid vacation every year? Why are we good with electing gluttonous politicians who, rather than go to work for we the people, hardworking families, spend their time exploiting the system and chasing their own personal enrichment? Republicans like Rob and Shannon control the legislative calendar. If they will only work a small fraction of part-time work, why not then legislate their status to part-time legislators? Why not move to reduce their full-time salary to the fraction of part-time work they actually do? Do these politicians campaign on doing nothing? Of course not. They spend obnoxious amounts of money on pretty pictures and nice-sounding words that leave us with the impression that they actually care about us and are interested in actually doing the work. During election season, those ads are funded by people who benefit from their refusal to go to work for the people, mostly anti-labor groups. The rest of the time, politicians use our tax dollars to send us their propaganda. That which, if we're not paying attention, we might interpret to mean they're actually doing work. I can't help but think that Plato and Aristotle are rolling over in their proverbial graves thinking, good grief, 2,400 years later and intellectually, not much has changed. Plato's allegory of the cave can be found in Book 7 of the Republic, a series in which Plato examined concepts like justice, truth, and beauty. It offers some interesting perspectives here. Plato analogized life to being like being stuck in a cave and watching shadows on the cave wall. Unable to see outside of the cave, those in the cave believe that the shadows they see are actual life. One day, one person exits the cave. The light hurts his eyes, and the world is overwhelming. He grapples with reality being real and shadows, that which he previously thought was real, being just shadows. He returns to the others in the cave to share his experience, to explain to them what is going on. His eyes, now adjusted to sunlight and life outside of the cave, struggle to see the shadows on the cave walls as he once saw them. The others reject him and this new information, as it conflicts with their own concept of reality. He must be ignorant, crazy, or perhaps even blind. The others resist all efforts to get them out of the cave to see for themselves. In the age of identity politics, trying to convince someone who identifies in one political party of the realities of that party is a lot like trying to convince cave dwellers to leave the cave. Our biases and self-interests blind us to inconvenient realities. Ignorance really is bliss. While no one wants to self-identify as ignorant, we sure do enjoy the ignorance-generated bliss. Once in a while, I'll have an opportunity to have this discussion with friends, family, those who experience the world differently than I do. Most every time it ends up somewhere along the lines of, this is why I hate politics, all politics are corrupt, and that's just the way things have to be. It is at this point that I'm resisting becoming inspiration for a gif of someone banging their head against the same spot on the same wall. While I understand the frustration of these conversations, I get that they are inconvenient, not fun, and certainly hard. No, not all politicians are corrupt. And no, it doesn't have to be this way. With accountability, a willingness to be professional, objective, honest in our expectations of concepts like integrity and public service, we can work towards rebuilding good government. This isn't some fairy tale pipe dream. Wisconsin used to be known for it. I also take these conversations as an opportunity to reflect. Maybe if I used better words or communicated them differently, we could get somewhere. How to overcome the backfire effect? Now that's the million-dollar question. What is the backfire effect? The backfire effect is the idea that when a claim does not meet with someone's beliefs, presenting them facts that communicate they are wrong actually make the person believe in that belief even more. Wild, right? Our brains are wired for self-protection. Attacking thoughts or beliefs that we internalize as constituting our identity make us vulnerable to things like confirmation bias and the backfire effect. Information that conflicts with our worldview feels like an attack, and we respond defensively for self-protection, even where the position we take in furtherance of being defensive is irrational, not logical, or even not accurate. In short, when presented with information or facts that challenge our beliefs, our brain responds as though we're being attacked by a bear. Except, as we all know, there's no bear. No one wants to self-identify as the people in the cave who are disconnected with reality. I can understand how sharing a story in which the audience hearing the story are the people in the cave is not going to go over well. Can you blame them? The truth is, to some extent, we're all in that cave. Some more than others, but none of us have it all figured out, or a monopoly on that which constitutes truth. That may not seem like good news, but it is. That means we all know what it feels like to be in that cave. We all know the discomfort of hard conversations, or the hurdle that is facing being wrong. So where do we go from here? We push back on identity politics. We listen to understand. We work hard to maintain a flexible mind that isn't personally invested in a given mindset. Is any of that easy? No. Why not? Because I'm essentially advocating for us to all be free thinkers. And the people who exploit followers stop getting elected in the face of free and rational thought. The big money special interests that enjoy the rubber stamps they get out of corrupt politicians don't want anything to change. In case anyone is wondering about Walker's war on education, there you go. We've covered a lot of ground here. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Episode 12 tomorrow. See you there.